language was created to divide reality into pieces. The moment you name something, you separate it. The moment you describe it, you place boundaries around it. But the monad, the absolute indivisible source, has no boundaries. So here's the paradox. The closer you get to truth, the less language works. And today, we're going to explore why the mind keeps trying to explain what can only be realized, and why silence is often closer to truth than words ever could be. Every spiritual tradition eventually runs into the same wall. Mystics speak in symbols. Philosophers argue endlessly. Teachers invent new words to point at something beyond words. Why? Because the monad is not an object. It is not a concept. It is not even an experience in the usual sense. Language evolved to describe differences. This and that, self and other, inside and outside. But the monad is prior to all division. So the moment language tries to capture it, distortion begins. In this video, we're going to walk through 5 deep realizations: why language creates separation, how concepts become spiritual cages, why descriptions of the monad are always symbols, never truth, the difference between knowing about and knowing as, and what remains when language finally falls silent. Let's begin. Language works by contrast. Light versus dark, good versus evil, self versus the world. Every word draws a line, but the monad has no opposite. You cannot define it because definition requires exclusion, and nothing exists outside the monad to exclude. This is why the highest realization often sounds contradictory. The one and the many. Form is emptiness. You are both everything and nothing. These aren't poetic flourishes. They are attempts to stretch language beyond its design. Language was built for survival, not absolute truth. It helps you navigate the world. It was never meant to explain what existed before the world appeared. The mind wants clarity through categories. The monad dissolves categories entirely. At first, concepts help. Words like awareness, presence, consciousness, and source, they point the way. But eventually, the pointer becomes the prison. People begin defending ideas instead of discovering reality. They debate definitions. They argue theology. They mistake vocabulary for realization. And this is the subtle trap. The ego survives by identifying with concepts. If you say, "I understand the monad," the mind quietly claims ownership of something that cannot be owned. The moment truth becomes an identity, it stops being alive. Realization is fluid. Concepts are frozen snapshots. The monad cannot be frozen. When mystics speak, they rarely speak literally. They use metaphors: light, ocean, mirror, silence, source, infinite skies. These are not definitions. They are gestures. Like a finger pointing at the moon. The finger is not the moon. The problem is that the mind grabs the symbol and forgets to look where it points. You hear light and imagine brightness. You hear oneness and imagine unity. But the monad is not an image or a sensation. It is the ground from which all images and sensations arise. This is why different traditions describe it differently, yet all point toward the same unspeakable reality. The words change, the truth doesn't. You can read 1,000 books about water and still die of thirst. Intellectual knowledge is always one step removed. You stand outside the thing you study. But realization is different. It is not knowing about the monad. It is knowing as the monad. The observer dissolves. There is no distance between knower and known. And this is where language truly collapses. Because language assumes separation. Someone speaks. Something is spoken about. But when the separation ends, the structure that language depends on disappears. You don't explain it. You are it. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the absence of mental division. When language quiets, perception changes. Reality feels immediate, unfiltered, and alive. This is why many masters eventually teach through presence rather than explanation. Words can guide you to the edge. Silence lets you step across. And paradoxically, the deepest understanding often arrives when you stop trying to understand. The mind finally rests, and what remains has always been there. Language is a beautiful tool, but it is still only a tool. It can point toward truth, but it cannot contain it. The monad is not something you will fully grasp with thought or describe with precision. It reveals itself when the need to describe falls away. When the mind stops chasing definitions, what remains is simple, immediate, and whole, and strangely familiar, as if you've been searching for what you already are. If this journey spoke to you, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone ready to experience life beyond thought. Comment below. Where in your life do you notice language limiting direct experience? I read every comment. If you would like to support my work directly, you can do so at buymeacoffee.com/magnumopus333. Or you can explore some original merchandise at my Teespring store online. The link is in the description below. Remember, your consciousness is the key that unlocks reality. Let's keep unlocking it together. Thank you for watching. Until next time.